Memory transcription subject. UN Secretary General, Elias Meyer. Date, Standardized Human Time, October 18th, 2136. After bidding farewell to the Oxel commander, I make my way to the conference hall. This hotel was once a primary site for technological conventions, expensive weddings, and even celebrity events. Now, while the catering and decor was missing, it was still a lavish enough venue to field a call to the Zurulians. My headquarters on Earth probably didn't exist anymore. The government needed a temporary base of operations. Secretary Kumper extended invitations to every world leader with the option to attend virtually. Many would be unable to procure space transportation, while others wouldn't want to leave during a crisis. "Sir, the Zurulian ambassador is waiting on a secure channel," Kumper offered. I straightened my posture. "Good. Patch him through." The adorable face that appeared on screen was enough to soften my demeanor. Chaucer's brown fur looked fluffy as a cloud, and remained just as shaggy around his cub-like ears. The side-facing eyes made him look like an anxious teddy bear. I suspected that visage would fill most humans with the urge to scoop them up and hug them. The Zurulian narrowed his eyes. I stifled a giggle at how stern he was trying to look. The expression was almost comical. That would be an inappropriate reaction, given how they felt about the Oxel's arrival. It would be preferable to keep these cute aliens as allies. "This is Secretary General Meyer. Thank you for taking our call and for your timely assistance," I offered.
"I am sorry for what happened to Earth."
Chaucer pawed at his nose, a forlorn twinkle in his eyes.
"But my colleagues and I have some concerns. I believe you didn't invite the Oxor, but you haven't tried to push them away."
The consequences of aggravating the Greys will be severe and inadvisable with our current readiness. Candidly, we need the help. There isn't exactly an outpouring of aid from the galactic community. The Zurulian began licking his paw, which his species did when thinking. The absent-minded grooming was distracting. I couldn't stop my lips from curving up, despite knowing it was a hostile gesture to their brains. The cuteness was melting away even my practiced composure.
"There is something amusing about not having aid for your planet, Mr. Meyer,"
Chaucer yipped. I shook my head quickly. "No, not at all, Ambassador. My apologies."
"Right. I've talked the Zurulian commanders into writing a more favorable report. We're going to do our best to neutralize the headlines, but I still expect incendiary accusations."
"I understand, and thank you for trusting us." It wouldn't surprise me if certain media outlets ran with the Predators scheming together narrative. Having the Oxel in our court was the fuel Federation factions needed to turn on us, but I didn't care. Humanity was done crawling through mud to appease paranoid bigots. Species were either for us or against us, and they needed to decide which side pronto. In the long run, our Zurulian neighbors looked to be decent friends. I couldn't imagine their fleet's thought process when the Oxor arrived. It would be understandable if they left at the sight of Greys and humans fighting side by side. The fact that the quadrupeds stayed meant it was worth justifying our position.
"It's the least I could do,"
Chaucer purred.
"We want to help with the rescue efforts. We have thousands of hospital ships in the system you call Proxima Centauri. That's where I am now. Our military may be unimpressive, but our doctors are second to none."
"Medical assistance would be appreciated, Ambassador. Please, send them at your earliest convenience." My voice took on a pleading lilt, contemplating Earth's desperation. "If there's any information you need about human biology..."
"The Venlil data has given us a baseline, but the issue is sending unarmed civilians into an Oxor occupation. I want to help you, but how do I authorize that order?"
"You want me to get rid of the Greys first?"
"Yes, for our safety."
"Chaucer, with respect, they haven't attacked a single one of your ships so far."
"I'm sure that the monsters who snack on our cubs have benevolent intentions towards the civilian race. I should invite them over for dinner."
"That's not what I meant. Human lives are..."
"What about our lives? These are good, selfless people."
With emergency services down in most metropolitan areas, there was nobody to respond to medical calls. Anyone who suffered a heart attack or sustained serious injuries was on their own. I would prefer Zurulian medics tending to our people rather than famished Arxor. That said, ISIS forces were the only protection Earth had right now. We needed both of their offerings. As I said, I am unwilling to aggravate the Arxor now, I replied, but I'm confident this commander will not attack your doctors. Chorson bared his tiny teeth.
You can't be confident enough. The Arxor are not trustworthy. They're sapient-eating fiends.
I know, but there are good people on Earth that need your help, and I believe the Greys will stand down if asked. Please, trust my judgment, this one time.
Oh, damn it, human. I'll send the medical ships, but if anything happens to them, this is the last Zurulian age you're getting. We're not expendable.
I inwardly cursed this gamble. Thank you. Kumpa, please contact the Chief Hunter. Let him know the inbound fleet are rescue workers and are not to be harmed. The Secretary of Alien Affairs departed with haste. The Zurulian scientist began pacing in a nervous daze as he sent a transmission to his men. Humanity would remember the quadruped's heroism for generations. I didn't know how we could thank them enough. A close-knit alliance might form out of this tragedy. What am I going to do about the other friendly diplomats? They show just how much they care for Predator lives. A bipedal sapient popped up in front of the camera, as though my thoughts summoned him. His coarse pelt was the tone of a red fox, and his face had some white markings. I racked my brain, identifying him as a Yotul. It was all I could do not to launch into a tirade against his inaction. What was Ambassador Laulo doing with Chorson?
I'm sorry about Earth too,
the Marspal barked.
Humans have been the only ones that treated us as equals, rather than the charity case.
I narrowed my eyes, and forced myself to maintain a level tone. The Zurulians didn't mention we had company. What can I do for you?
I just want you to know we do care about what happened to humanity. Stars, I feel stupid saying this out loud. I really wish we could have helped like Chorson.
Those words are easy to say, aren't they? Why didn't the Yotul raise a claw? The Zurulian ambassador watched in silence, flicking his ears in discomfort. I urged myself to rein in my fury for his sake. This wasn't a discussion to have in front of our newest allies. Holding the bystanders accountable could alienate our neighbours. Laulo averted his gaze.
We don't have our own fleet yet to send you, so, I guess we're useless to you. We're the newest uplifts. Guess you think we're worthless primitives now too.
I mulled over his explanation in silence. That did alter my perspective, if the Yotul hadn't developed any military assets to mobilize. It didn't sound like the Federation had done anything more than dump technology in their lab and expect them to figure it out. Perhaps the apologetic sentiment was worth something.
Anyhow, I scrounged up millions of volunteers to help you rebuild,
the uplift grumbled.
We have lots of untapped resources, and it's labor if you want it. We need external transport to get to Earth. I'm sorry that my offer is so underwhelming.
I raised my hands in reassurance. We would love any help you're willing to extend. Aid doesn't have to come in a military form, Laulo. Maybe we can teach you a thing or two about our engineering.
Really? You would do that?
Of course. We're still new to Federation technology ourselves. The two of us can figure out their secrets together. The Yotul's expression was the image of relief as he squeezed his eyes shut. I felt sorry for the poor guy, if he was expecting to be rebuked for technological deficiencies. Perhaps this exchange was reason enough for me to move the goalposts. Anyone who offered assistance would be in my good graces, whether it was military or not. Some of our allies might have been too scared to fight, which could be fixed. They might have been too far away or didn't have spare military resources.
Chorson gave the uplift a friendly nudge. You can ask us for help too. I knew I was right to bring you along.
I apologize if I snapped at you, Laulo. It's been a difficult 48 hours. I muttered. Have you guys heard anything from the other human allied races? The Zurulian sighed.
No, I'm afraid not.
I pursed my lips. If no additional species expressed the slightest concern for our predicament, that lessened the possibility of extenuating circumstances. According to my sources, the Maziks and the Swiftkits hadn't been partial to us. Maybe the absent races had blamed us for killing their diplomats because of our predatory compulsions. Should I even bother reaching out to any of them? My throat felt dry. Well, I appreciate both of you. Please, keep in touch if you have any concerns. Chawson waved a paw.
Wait, may I? I know now may not be the best time, but there was an idea I'd like to mention at least.
Go on.
The Zurulians and the Yotul are both interested in a human exposure program,
Lalo chimed in.
like you did with the Venlo at first contact.
Chawson flicked his ears.
Obviously, some civilians are going to be sharply exposed with rescue efforts, but I still think it's important to foster understanding and discussion in a controlled environment.
I nodded. We'd be amenable to that idea, though any human candidates will carry emotional baggage after this attack. I'll see what I can do to set that up.
Excellent. Take care, Maya, and let me know our hospital fleet status regularly.
The Zurulian terminated the call, and I flopped down on a chair with exhaustion. Human participation in an exchange program shouldn't be an issue, given how cute our helpers were. A few friends in the galaxy was a silver lining. The future ahead of us was going to be rife with war and suffering. We needed to maintain some positive relations to stay sane. I fished up my holopad and contemplated the address I was live-streaming tonight. My original speech was mired with blame and bitterness, focused on revenge. There was room for such sentiment, but that was also how the Arxel ended up with such a warped ideology. What humanity needed was hope. The first words spilled from my fingers, and a burst of inspiration. To the people of planet Earth, who have been preyed upon by an unreasonable enemy, I know you are grieving the innocent blood that has been spilled this week. You feel hurt and anger for the loved ones taken away too soon. I share every scrap of your pain. What I want you to know is that humanity will endure, and that we are not alone. Not only do we have each other, but we have friends who stand with us. The Zurulians and the Venlo fought with us, and gave us back a sliver of optimism for a better life among the stars. It is time to unite with everyone who believes in our ideals, to stand as a single species with a single purpose. Together, we will go for the Federation's throat, relentless in the face of injustice. We will bring our enemies and our persecutors to their knees, if it takes millennia to rectify this vendetta. Humanity calls for atonement, for our right to exist. When we are done, the galaxy shall know what a hunter is. My lips curled up with malice. The speech required some tweaking, but it carried the suitable degree of vengefulness. Governor Tava would be relieved that I tempered the prime message down a notch. If humanity could unify for the purpose of destruction, then the Federation would have a genuine reason to fear us. There would be a reckoning for Earth, and I didn't know that their organization would survive it.